Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TRS Live with your hosts Brian Keller, Matt Trotz, and Zach Huffman, presented by The Real Shot.
I'ma do this here forever.
EQ.
Forever.
Triune.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Let's go.
All you haters better get comfy. This the day you've been waiting on. Your road is finna get bumpy. This the track I'm making my statement on. I ain't going nowhere. This the place that I'm making home. I'll do this shit forever. Hit the gas and I'm taking off. Ow. I was born with passion. My job is never ending and my hustle's everlasting. No matter what, I'm gon' ball, even with my back to the wall. And the best part is that this is the beginning. I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
All right.
I think it's great. Every time this thing comes on, we're laughing. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. Well, good morning, Zach. Good morning, Brian and Mark. How is everybody today?
Good. Not too bad.
I made it to work today.
Oh,
Woo!
I'm telling you, I don't know what you got over there, but I got probably close to 18 inches of snow yesterday.
Oh, wow.
That's a
in
lot.
Washira County. No bull crap. Like at one point they said Watoma, which is always the indicator, had like 14 inches, and then I swear we got almost another 3 to 4 inches overnight last night.
That's crazy.
Yep. I know. I woke up. I thought that the storm was over. I ventured out, last night, went to the pet store and a few things, and thought it was over. Wake up this morning, and I've got like a 3-foot snowdrift in front of my driveway. Everything's covered. Wasn't a good time.
And if anybody doesn't know, I mean, we're here in Wisconsin in the central part. We got hammered yesterday. I talked to Vapor Trail in Minnesota yesterday, and they said they were getting hammered too. They had
Really?
like 14 inches of snow, so the Midwest just got pounded.
Yep.
And now at least the weather's warm again. It's not super, super cold outside, but if you drive around it, like PSA or what is that, public service announcement? all you guys' little abbreviations.
Yeah.
I was in Walgreens parking lot today. Like, you have to be very careful traveling around because some of those snow piles are so high. You can't see other traffic
Well,
anywhere.
even on the way in this morning, still full day after 41. Most of it's one lane still.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of 10
Yep.
and
Yep.
when I come in on 10 and 76 is all mostly one lane.
Yeah. So
Guys are still giving it on the left side of the. I got passed by somebody that's like, really?
right. Oh, and then you're driving somewhat responsible because I want to get to work on time and be safe.
Right.
Are we drinking, Zach? Is that my game?
Be safe.
Be
Yep.
safe,
Oh,
drink.
yep.
Yeah.
I gotta get the coffee
But
out.
anyways, yes.
just leave earlier.
Semis. Well, I did. You know what's funny about that is
Your
I've
wife
been
told
trying.
you that?
No. I've been trying to leave every day at least 15 to 20 minutes earlier, and
Yep.
I still get to work like 15 to 20 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? So I try to get here at quarter
So
two.
there's some time warp thing you got going on.
I'm telling you, I
time
think
zone.
you get off the highway and you get lost, and the roads aren't amazing. And I'm not gonna lie, I drive very safe at this time of year.
I can imagine.
Yeah, like be
The
safe.
safety's a big
You're probably
thing for
driving.
that.
You're probably driving down the road, and you look at somebody in the ditch. You're like, should have been safe.
Should have been safe. Should've been. There was. I was surprised.
Gets out, hands him a be safe bumper
Yeah.
sticker, gets back in his car, and
Is that
drives
my?
off.
Can I
It's
get
gonna
a
be
shirt?
be safe,
Can
and
I
the
get a
A
shirt?
is gonna be
I
a
just
heart.
want that shirt.
I want that now. You're gonna get a be safe shirt, and the A is gonna be a heart in safe.
Oh.
We can print
We're
that.
gonna
Can we make that?
Yeah, let's
Can
do
we
that.
get on
We're
that
gonna get a
today?
little sticker. We'll put it right here.
Nice.
Look at Mark. Mark's like, oh boy.
Yeah. What did
boy.
What did I sign up for? He's
What
thinking.
did I get
Yeah.
myself into
Yeah.
here?
Well. So, anyways, we're here with Mr. Drewek. We've been trying to get you on for a while now. I mean,
I've had him so busy, he hasn't had time.
well, and that's the thing. He's running
be
the,
busy.
He's running the floor. You're helping Steve get the guns and everything all set up. So we're finally glad that you
Well,
can make time and
And
be
he's
in
had
here.
to replace a lot of guys that I've pulled from the sales floor.
Yeah, true story.
Like, man.
True stat.
Also, that's not
Ty
easy.
and
That's not an easy thing to do. Ty is now more in the warehouse for the internet stuff.
Yep.
You're here doing this with me and all the marketing stuff now. I mean,
yep.
it's not a small feat to replace.
No,
people.
I mean,
Whoa.
especially when you got veterans and you're putting, I wouldn't classify the guys as rookies because they're all veterans in their own way, but they're new to the real shot, and it's difficult to replace guys that have been out there on the floor and understand
I
things.
agree.
It's just that new girlfriend type of thing, but the
Yep.
guys are doing a great job, and a lot of stuff going on, a lot of cool, exciting things, and
Well, and the cool thing I like about that is we've gotten some of these new guys in that have totally different experience levels.
Right.
And it's really broadened our experience as a store.
Yes.
Right? So we haven't lost any of the experience we had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Matt's still around, Ty's still around. We just had him on the show on Monday talking about mega bass and stuff. So it's allowed us to expand the knowledge base, which I think's been pretty awesome.
Well, I think so, because everybody has a passion for something, whether it's trout fishing or Great Lakes fishing or bass fishing or walleye fishing. When you can kind of pull all of that stuff together in one big team, right here, I think you could get just about any question you wanted answered from the fishing and the hunting world, which is pretty, in this day and age, in the outdoor world and in the outdoor retail world, that speaks volumes.
Well, and we've gotten lucky enough that the main core guys all live and breathe this stuff.
Yeah, very much
and
so.
I think that's been a real big deal. You know what I mean? Like Zach's getting into it now, right? But we've got Matt lives and breathes this stuff. You live and breathe it. I live and breathe it. And then moving those guys around, Ty lives and breathes it. Justin, I mean, this is what we do in our free time. That's all we do. I've always said it's funny, especially in the summer. If you go into a fishing store and you look at the guys who are trying to sell you fishing tackle, if they don't have raccoon eyes from the sun being on the water, I don't know how to describe what if you don't know what that looks like, it's a very very distinguished look, right?
Yep.
If you don't have that, well, you're not on the water, right?
Yep.
When you walk in here in the summer, it's just everybody's got the burn line.
Yeah, it's so true, and it's it's a pretty cool thing when you have people who are not just they live the outdoor life. It's not what they like to do; it's who they are.
Right.
It's part of their essence, and that's what really I think enhances our customer base. Is that people know that we're kind of junkies.
I agree,
and they feed off of that as well.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm sharing a video to our Facebook page right now. It's 2 years ago is when Mark and I braved the elements. We're right out here in this parking lot, and we were testing the fire disc.
Okay.
2 years ago, and the weather was extreme. That's what I just put on here. Tested in true Wisconsin fashion. I mean, it had to be like 4 degrees, and then there was a strong wind chill that day. It was negative. It was negative out there, and the fire disc worked phenomenal. So I mean, we still love that fire disc, and I'm gonna share that video right now. But you and I, we've done a lot of videos for the store, whether it is on the fire disc, whether it's on the 10-point stuff, the Raven stuff. We've got compliments on the instructional video that you and Zach put together for the crossbow maintenance. That's probably one of the most needed videos out there, and it was so well done. And you do such a great job of informing everybody. I mean, you're a crossbow guru. People come here
for sure.
from all over. The fact is not only for 10 points, but everything in general. If there's something wrong with the 10-point, I mean, holy man. Or I shouldn't just be a 10-point, any crossbows. I know I'm kind of jumping off tangent here, but I mean, I've seen some crossbows come in here that I don't know how to figure out. There was one in particular. I'm gonna call this one out.
I know which one you're talking about too.
There was one in particular. There was a gentleman in here. It was I think it was a Carbon Express crossbow. He was on the range, and all of a sudden he comes in by me. I'm out in the front of the store, and he goes, "I got a problem. I can't shoot my crossbow." And his kid put this crossbow together for him.
His kid?
His kid did. It wasn't purchased here, which we would have taken the steps to make sure this never happened. The actual cables were on top of the rail. He got the crossbow cocked, was trying to shoot it, and he couldn't get it to shoot. And I'm like, thankfully, he didn't get it to shoot.
Well, that thing would have blew.
It would have blew right
It would
up.
have been a disaster.
So I get it, and I'm in straight up panic mode because I don't know what to do. I mean, this thing is a ticking time bomb.
Oh, right, for
Literally.
sure.
And so I put it in the press, and I tried a couple different things. It was like 7:30-ish, just before we closed at night. I took it. I left a note for Mark. I might have been off the next day.
You actually sent me, texted me pictures.
Yes.
Take a look at this.
Take a look at this.
I'm like, ooh.
And at the time, we had archery tag, the big blow-up target set on the floor.
Okay.
I set that thing in the archery tag bales.
Just in case it went
In
boom?
case it would blow. Like it wouldn't send a cam through the wall or somebody
Well,
wouldn't
that's
get
actually
hurt.
pretty smart, Matt. I'm proud of you.
Well, so
Yeah, it was,
you got it, though.
I mean,
The
realistically, though, you got to remember, be safe.
be safe, guys.
Always be safe.
It is be safe. But I was astonished. Like, you texted me the next day and you said, I got it. And I was like, how the heck? Because it was so – the limbs were so narrow at that point that crossbow barely fit into our presses.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I had to extend the limbs actually farther in than what they're designed to go, and had to put some spacers in the press to get that thing enough so that I could get the string out from being decocked and get that all the way down. And that was one of many scary ones over the years. But I think when you do something for that long, you can almost anticipate what it is that you need to do. Just based on the way it looks. I mean, I've had so many of them come in and people have said they not quite sure what happened, and I can pretty much know exactly what happened. Yeah,
and you get accustomed to it after a while.
Yep.
And you want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
But for the most part, if you see the same repetitive thing every single time, you got a good idea. And I know you brought a crossbow with you here, but I want to ask one question. What is the scariest crossbow that you've ever worked on?
Oh, boy, I'll tell you, being a warranty repair center for 10-point, we have a lot of cracked limbs.
Yes.
Now, I've worked on them where it's actually been cracked where the axle is and also cracked where the limb actually hits the limb pocket. Both extremely dangerous because if either one of those lets go, it's going to snap, it's going to crack in half, it's going to fold inward. There were probably 3 or 4 that were like that.
Were they cocked at the time, or were they?
No, they were uncocked.
Okay.
But when you compress that.
Oh, you're telling put it in the press.
Yep. When you put that in the press to get it apart, to actually get the string and the cables off of it.
Oh, man.
Every one of them creaked. And you can just kind of feel that, safety glasses. Be safe. Okay. Well,
absolutely.
I thought I'd get on the game here.
No, yeah.
But, it's a pretty dangerous situation, but there's been multiple ones like that where they crack in those two spots, and then you have to let it back down and get all the stuff off of it. So that's probably, and there's been multiples over the years, but those are probably the most dangerous in my mind. But going back to what you said earlier, in regards to when somebody brings a bow in, and it may or may not be a user error. To me, that's a great opportunity to coach these people on how to take care of their equipment. Because obviously, you and I both know that there are a lot of 10-points out there that we didn't sell.
Yep.
And we did such a tremendous job of coaching people and training people how to operate their equipment and be safe with it.
I'm
all over that now.
Maybe now I know where Matt got it from.
I know.
Maybe he got it from him.
Yep, that's true.
But, those are great opportunities to create a customer, because now you've not only fixed his bow, but you've kind of given him something to walk away with of how he can better take care of his $1,000 or $1,200, $1,500 piece of equipment.
Well, and that's I would say, obviously, I mentored you for the longest time on the sales floor, and I learned the ways that you would handle things. And for me, the proper instruction was first and foremost, like you always taught us. And it's funny, it was apparent this last 2018 season when we sold a pile of Raven R9s. A pile. And there were very few, I'm talking like 1 or 2, that came back where we personally sold the crossbows to the person and instructed them on the floor, like Marc was just talking about. But there were a pile of them where we got questions where they sold on the internet, where, I'm just trying to say, like, if you're in the market for a crossbow or a vertical bow, for that matter, or anything, make sure you get good instruction on how to use these things. And we take the time. Now it's kind of gotten, everybody has a crossbow, or everybody knows somebody that has a crossbow at this fashion. Right. But we take the time to make sure not only dial you in with that crossbow, but you don't leave the store until you safely know how to operate that thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's critical, because, you don't want somebody going out there and, number one, damaging their equipment or hurting themselves because somebody didn't show them how to do it. And unfortunately, a lot of places, people bought them online, or they bought them at another shop or a big box store or something like that, where nobody is really there to teach them that. Yep. That saves us on the backside. Right. And I think, again, reinforces that connection to your customers that, hey, you know what, these guys took the time to teach me how to use this. That's value. It really is not like, okay, here's your crossbow, here's your manual, don't forget to
you're not getting shoved out the door.
Right. And we actually will go online and help people make sure that their bows are warranted. Because if we do run into that situation, the last thing you want to do is have the guy go, I didn't send in my warranty. Right. Well, no, that's So again, taking it that extra step to develop and look at over the years, Matt, that all these people that came to us initially and all the residual business that came after that is because we provided somebody with good service.
Good service.
Well,
And
I
that's,
think that's what's led to us getting Hoyt and Matthews and Bowtech.
Yep.
It's all stemmed from the service level that we provided.
Well, and now think about
and continue
this.
to.
And I was gonna say two things. First of all, is like you hit on it. If you do not buy your crossbow from the Real Shot, now there'll be a fee, but do not be afraid to come in here with that crossbow and get the instruction that you need to.
Yep.
We're gonna see how we're gonna charge you how we see fit. Typically, there's a one-time fee, or not. Like there's a fee that day.
Mm-hmm.
But let's come in here, take advantage of not only Marc's knowledge but everybody else's knowledge on the sales floor, and learn how to use that crossbow the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's certain brands out there that are, again, like, they're a little more notorious than other crossbows to have malfunctions.
Correct.
But then again, if you come in here and you learn how to use that crossbow the correct way, we're hopefully going to prolong that, or we're honest with everybody as well. If you're in the market for a crossbow, and now we're going to be in that gun fashion, just come in here and ask some general questions, and then we'll point you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that we're not the place that says you didn't buy it here, we can't help you at all.
Absolutely.
There's certain times where unfortunately we have to tell you that because before we had Hoyt, we couldn't get cams or we couldn't get jaw mods or something like that. Now at this point, there's really no reason that we can't help anybody out, especially as long as we carry. What was it last year? We had up to 9 different crossbow brands in the store.
Yeah,
and now we have. I'm trying to think of how many bow brands, and then think about the gun fashion as well. I mean, in the fishing world, there's really no reason that we can't help anybody in any form. So don't be afraid to come in here. Is the long story.
Oh yeah,
That's the long story. I thought that was a short story.
Well,
you're right, man. I think we don't discriminate, and people come in and they're kind of reluctant to say, I didn't buy this here, but
Well,
can
that's
you
because
help
they've
me?
been trained
right.
by most other places. If you buy it online, you buy it somewhere else, and you got crappy service there, you're trying to get it fixed.
Yep.
Right.
Well, if you didn't buy it here, we're not going to talk to you. And that's how, a lot of, when I started this, that's how it was.
Yeah.
You go buy a bow, you go buy anything anywhere else. If you didn't buy it from them originally, they typically don't want to talk to you.
And I've been in shops that are actually like that, where that you go to the end of the line.
Yes.
And again, going back to the aspect of capturing a customer. You got guy walks in and he's, unhappy, or nobody's taught him how to use this piece of equipment.
Yep.
You come in, you spend the time with him, you get him rocking and rolling. Boy, now you got a customer for life.
Yep.
Now
I agree.
he's buying that bow for his kids, or he's buying arrows, or he's buying anything that we have that he needs from a hunting standpoint. So again, you have to take a look at every opportunity that you have,
Right.
And not discriminate against anybody because they didn't purchase it from you.
Well, we just don't pressure anybody either.
No.
I mean, sometimes maybe we should. But for the most part, on the sales aspect, we never pressure anybody.
Sell them what they want. Don't sell them what you think they need.
And that people truly, truly appreciate that too.
Oh, they do. It's honesty. If you're going to sit down and talk with a guy and he's like, this is what I'm looking for. I don't think we've ever been that type that we're trying to sell them the most expensive thing. Now, we're going to explain to them, okay, here's the benefits of this. This is how it's going to benefit you in your application, as opposed to just saying, hey, well, you need to have this $2,000 crossbow. People respect that, and I see it come back. And when you work on the floor long enough, you see those people come back, and they'll, okay, well, I bought this one. Now I want to upgrade.
Right.
Now they're buying that $2,000 bow because they feel a lot better from the progress that they've taken, buying, a $600 bow and going, wow, I really love this. This is awesome.
Yep. So let's jump backwards a little bit, and Mark, and just kind of briefly go over, how you got to the Real Shot, and then do you have?
No, before we get on, let's
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
I know we're jumping aboard.
I know,
here. I'm
no.
trying to-
Before we go too far, let's talk about this crossbow.
Yeah,
market.
oh,
You
I'm
guys
very
are talking
excited.
about crossbows.
I know.
I'm sitting. I'm like, okay, Matt's gonna make the segue.
I was. Well, and the other thing I want, if you can,
That's because we didn't put it on the board.
I
Zach.
know,
If we would have
there
put it on the
was-
board, Matt would have made
How
the
come there's
segue.
nothing on there?
That's because Matt was lazy today.
Oh.
Well, not only introduce this bow, but I want you to, if it's okay with Brian, this is a real good time too, since you have something to show people. Capture on why you need to do your maintenance right now this time of year
Yep.
and how we can help you with that.
Yeah,
so
sure,
absolutely.
Introduce this crossbow and go
It's
from
not
there.
on the board. I don't think we can do that.
Yeah.
Are we getting out of sync here?
Yeah.
or-
Let's be safe and have a drink of water.
Anyway, I mean, let's go
Water,
back.
you saying? So not coffee. All right. All right.
Let's go back a few years.
Yep.
When we really when we discovered that the crossbow law was going to change, and we really capitalized on that by jumping ahead of everybody else and securing a good amount of crossbows.
Yes.
And we went with the Shadow Ultralight. I believed in that product. I'm like, hey, this thing is 6.3 pounds. It's lightweight. It's a FSB stock. It's shorter. It's going to be more compact. And we sold hundreds of them.
I'll never forget when that first pallet showed up. And we were all kind of like, oh my God, there's a pallet of bows. Holy crap. What are we doing with the whole pallet of bows?
And you know what? Everybody got into it. Everybody got educated. And we were able to capitalize on that. But, now you take a look at, all of the crossbows that have come into the market. You've got the Ravens and you've got the, 10 point, which is still, a major player in the crossbow market. But now you're taking a look at some of these crossbows, no different than vertical bows in the past. You're getting a lot better performance out of these bows that are lower priced, but you're getting the performance or even better performance out of them. Now, the one we're looking at right now is the Wicked Ridge Invader X4. Now, you take a look at this bow comparative to the Shadow Ultralight. Okay, Shadow Ultralight, 180 pounds of draw weight, 12.6 power stroke, and we'll talk about that, what a power stroke is. 13.5 inches axle to axle, 34 inches, 6.4 pounds, up to 350 feet per second, okay? That bow retailed from $1,000 to $1,100, depending if you want with the AccuDraw 50 or an AccuDraw, okay? Now you take a look at the X4. Okay, it's a Wicked Ridge. Everybody goes, oh, is that their cheaper version? No, it's actually not. It doesn't have all of the high-end features like some of the 10 points do, but 165 pounds of draw weight.
Nice.
13.5 power stroke, 19 inches axle to axle, a little bit longer, 6.31 pounds, and up to 360 feet per second.
360 feet
Right.
per second.
From $550 to $650.
Holy
Okay,
man.
this is a bow that I think, guys, that's really going to fit that niche. Now, Parker Crossbows is no longer.
Right.
So you've got this bow that's going to fit that niche. Not everybody can afford, some of the higher end stuff.
Yep.
So you're getting equal the performance of a high end bow several years ago with a bow that's priced appropriately. So that's why I'm excited about this one. It's a lot lighter weight. You can take a look at it. It's skeletonized.
Well, and you're getting the backing of that 10-point brand,
Oh,
too.
gosh, yeah.
Which
Plus
is,
we can...
which is huge.
Oh, that's tremendous. And 10 point's been great. I think we've been a certified warranty repair center. We'll be going on our fourth year now, our third, fourth year. So actually, people can bring their bows.
Has it really been that long already?
Yeah.
I know. I was
Yeah.
just thinking, that's
Isn't that crazy?
crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's
Wow.
it's our third year. So
No wonder why I look old now.
yeah.
It's really bad. I thought it was like 2 years.
Oh, wait. That's why you look old?
Yeah, right. I think my wife's listening. We can't talk about the real reasons. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, we could get off on that.
Anyway.
tangent.
I think the worst part is isn't she here? So
Yeah,
she
she's
could
like
come in
literally
here and
next
attack
door.
you
She
right
could come
now.
here and hit
Yeah,
me
here
in
she
the
comes
face.
right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Bro, he did. You looked. Did you see him check his
Hey, check her back.
He's
Here
conditioned.
she
He goes,
comes.
oh no, here she comes. But yeah, you take a look at.
Awesome. That's a blooper clip right there. Brian checking his what did you say at the Las Vegas show? The dogs were always
Watching their six.
watching their six.
Watching their six.
He's gonna have a support dog now whenever's around Megan.
Gotta make sure I watch what I say.
All right, sorry,
Just
Mark.
kidding.
No
Oh,
worries.
man.
So I
Hey,
think
Valentine's Day isn't until tomorrow, right? I got like a full 24 hours to fix this. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
No, man, you're done. Go ahead, Wicked
Dunzo.
Ridge.
Anyway, yeah. So Wicked Ridge. I'm excited about this. I think we'll do really well with this. In that middle range crossbow.
Yep.
It just the 10-point people have been really good to work with. It's a product that I've been working on now for over 14 years, and the advantage of that is us being the warranty repair center is that a lot of this stuff I can do right here.
Yep.
For you. Sometimes if I have the equipment, I can turn it around sometimes the same day if it's not too busy, sometimes in a couple days, whereas if you had to send it back to the company, you'd be looking at 3 days there, couple days, 3 to 5 days to get it repaired, and then
Plus
another 3
shipping.
to 5 days plus shipping.
Plus shipping.
Yep.
So it's been a good draw for us, and I fixed bows from people all the way up to from Michigan, from Menominee, all the way down to Milwaukee, Beaver Dam, Madison, where people have driven here because it's the closest place. I remember fixing a guy's bow. He brought it in. I replaced his limbs, and he was actually going hunting that weekend.
Yeah.
So
That's happened multiple times.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that again is that people don't expect that type of stuff. When you take something in to get fixed, you don't expect to get it back the same day. So that's kind of been cool from my perspective to be able to do stuff like that. So, but anyway, I want to go back to Power Stroke. Everyone else, okay, Power Stroke this 13.5, 13, 19, whatever. Power Stroke basically is the distance between the string and where it's cocked. Okay, and what that
Like
equates
where the string
to,
is, where it rests right now?
where it rests to where it's cocked.
Okay.
And what that equates to is kind of similar to a draw length on a vertical bow.
Yep.
Okay, the longer that is, the more velocity you're going to get up. And what's important to understand is that there's a lot of factors that go into the velocity and the speed, limb design, cams, but that Power Stroke basically it equates into making it faster. Yep. So the longer it is, kind of like, a 30-inch draw length as opposed to a 28-inch draw length on a vertical bow, that's pretty much what a Power Stroke is in generalities.
Yep.
Taking away, some of the things I spoke about, like the limbs and the cam design and so on and so forth. So, when you take a look at a 13.5 as a, 12.6 Power Stroke, you can kind of see where that comes into play.
So with this bow having more of a round cam to it, does this one pull a little bit easier than one with some of the hatchet style cams, or do you not notice a difference?
No, you do, Matt. It's a good question. I think that when you do crank that back, you used to feel when you had those lobe cams, you would feel it all of a sudden let off. Where it's like on the Synergies, where you draw that bow back, you would not feel that rollover because that cam was elliptical, it was round almost.
Yep.
So with these, it's the same way. That's just you don't feel it hit that brake
It's just smooth.
and then come back. It's a lot smoother.
Especially for the people that want the Accu 50 like that's on this model here. That's just going to make that drawback a lot smoother, a lot more continuous, and you're not going to, it's not going to be as stressful on anybody's arms, shoulders, back, or anything like that as well.
Right. And while you're on that subject, the AccuDraw 50 and the AccuDraw 50 is basically a rope cocker, serves as a fulcrum, decreases the draw weight by 50%.
Yep.
The AccuDraw is a crank system, which will take it down to about 5 pounds of pressure. Big difference. Faster and quieter on the AccuDraw. A little bit slower, but you don't have to pull it. You can do it by hand. So the applications to that would be somebody who might have a back problem, a shoulder problem, or something like that. If you don't, the best way to go is with the AccuDraw 50 because it's going to happen a lot quicker. You could realistically get a second shot off.
I was going to say it's a lot quieter too. You don't have that clicking from the ratchet.
Yep. You're not waiting on that click, 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 click. And some people like to not use that clicker. So just let it be known that is. You really should not.
Finger.
Yeah, that handle comes back at under that amount of pressure. It's going to come back and hit you in the hand. Number one,
right?
And number two, you're going to cause about $200 to $300 worth of damage to the internal parts of that AccuDraw.
And you can tell.
Yeah,
as a repair guy, you can tell.
I know. All I have to do is open up and look at the retractor spring, and I know what happened.
You know exactly.
Whether it was a semi-dry fire or. Sometimes people will nick them with the broadhead, but I can usually tell.
You can usually tell, and that's just good heads up too. Like that AccuDraw is not. You can't let the bow down with that. It's geared to go one way and one way only. So for you to come in here and tell Mark, well, I don't know what happened. He's gonna be able to tell. Now again, he's gonna work with you the best way he can.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it's not a cheap repair. I mean,
no, it's not.
If anybody ever took an AccuDraw apart, you better know what you're doing. Otherwise, it's just like a chainsaw spring. That thing goes everywhere. Now you need a whole new.
Comes
one.
in a package this big, and it's about from here to Calumet Street long. So
it is. It's quite crazy.
It's quite long, but again, it's the safety feature of it. They're not designed to do that.
Right.
For that simple fact, because you've got the dry fire inhibitor on there, and you've got to pull the trigger, hold this, pull up the dry fire inhibitor, no, it's not
it's
designed to do
accident
that.
waiting
So
to happen.
it's from a safety standpoint, do not do that.
Yep. So this bow here, you said, is what price range?
You're looking at $550 to $650.
So-
So it's $100 difference between an AccuDraw 50 and an AccuDraw.
Okay, and then like, what does it come for as far as come with as far as accessories?
3 XX75 2219 aluminum bolts, comes with the multi-line scope and whatever package you pick.
And it comes with the lighted scope that's
No,
on there.
these do not come with the illuminated scopes, just the multi-line.
Well, this is an illuminated one.
Oh, you're right. This one does.
That's why this one's $5.99.
That's why that one's more expensive. Yes.
So, and we're going to carry it just like we've done with most
Yeah.
of them in 3 different ways with nothing, or are we just going to carry Accu50, AccuDraw?
AccuDraw. I mean, if somebody wants some specifically, typically
get
the upsell to the drawing mechanism, you're going to have to spend $50 on a rope cocker anyway. So
Right.
why not just get it integrated into the stock?
Yep. And that's the way I always broke it down for somebody. What truly is the difference besides $100 is everything you touched on. The thing that's nice too is AccuDraw, anybody can shoot your bow. Bad part about it is anybody can shoot your bow.
Right.
You know, so like if you're gonna borrow it out to somebody, you know, now they can shoot your bow in a good way, or like, gosh darn it, get your own crossbow eventually. You know, go to the real shot and get one. But you know, for kids, the AccuDraw is the way to go. If it's a dad hunting with your kid or something like that, definitely get the AccuDraw. The thing about it is, once you have the AccuDraw, you have the AccuDraw. With this, let's say you do have with the Accu50, you do get a bad back, bad shoulder, or something like that. It's almost what, $300 and something to put the AccuDraw.
Yeah, it's quite
on.
an upgrade plus labor because
Right.
you got to pull both mechanisms out, and then the AccuDraw is designed two-sided, so you have to
Yep.
actually put it together. So the labor is. I always tell everybody, it's like, if you're ever thinking about that, if you wanted to buy it like this, and you thought you might transition to an AccuDraw at some point in time, then buy the rope cocker, cock it by hand. It's got
Yep.
the groove on the back side of the stock to do that, and then buy it with the AccuDraw.
Buy it with the AccuDraw and
Yep.
buy a rope cocker second. Plus, you're gonna probably want that if you do get a second shot, anyways.
Right. Yeah,
You're
I'll-
not gonna, like Brian said, you're not gonna. It's literally like a bolt winch. Click, 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 click.
It's
click,
exactly
That's
like a
exactly
bow
what it
winch.
is.
So,
Yep. It's exactly what it is.
So you mentioned before off-season maintenance. Now's kind of time
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your tips on that? What are you?
You should have your crossbow looked at once a year because, number one, people are hunting with these in bad conditions, okay? And I've seen a lot of them with a lot of wax and buildup, and what that does is all that does is accumulate dirt, okay? And that builds up in here. If you look up in the front end too, where the riser bolt is right here, that's beveled. So when you put that in, it's got a beveled edge on it. The water has a tendency to go right into that. So obviously, when you're done hunting with it, the best thing to do is wipe it off completely, put it away. But at the end of the year, make sure that you take it somewhere, have somebody look at it, check your timing on the cams, number one. Check and see how your servings are, your center serving, which is probably one of the most wearable parts on your crossbow anyway. And then your limb bolt or your riser bolt should be taken out and cleaned and re-lubed.
Yep.
Put it back in there, because I've had some that have been pretty, I've actually had to bang on them with a hammer to get them loose because they were rusted, and that should come out every year, just to make sure that if something does happen, you don't have the guy who's fixing it try and struggle to get that out.
Yep. Well, and the other thing too is, like you said, cam timing. Your cam lean is really crucial as well.
Oh yeah, you got twin split yokes on there, so that's really important. And with this material, it does, with the weather, does expand and contract. You should be replacing realistically every 2 years.
Yep.
You can stretch it out to 3 years if you do the proper maintenance. And what I mean by that is keep them clean, keep them waxed, and if for some reason you do notice timing, and most of the cams now, they got timing dots on them. If something's off, then you should be able to take a look at it and just have a couple twists or a twist put into the cables.
So we get a lot of questions on that, Mark. Can you explain that just a little bit more? Why you need to replace crossbow strings more often than you do a vertical bowstring?
Well, I think you have more strands. Obviously, it's a little bit thicker, but you have a lot more pressure.
Yes.
On that, and what the material itself, again, based on how you maintain it. I've had some strings and cables come in that look like they were brand new. Some guys don't shoot their bows very much. Some guys shoot them a lot.
Right.
Some guys just shoot them for fun, which is
Yep.
great.
Yep.
But the wear and tear, you'll start to see that it's a little bit more difficult on the orange strings. But if you take a look at the black ones or the yellow ones or anything like that, they start to turn white. And what's happening is that material deteriorates. And if you don't keep it waxed, it can that moisture can seep into the inside of those strands and start to deteriorate it from the inside out. So that kind of serves as a moisture barrier, which is one of the things that somebody can do themselves.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but when they come in and I do a tune-up on it, first thing I do is when I take the front end off is take a cleaner, strip all that old ugly wax off of there, clean it, and then put a nice coat of wax on there. And you should be able to move your fingers across that wax and have it have like a silky smooth finish to it.
Yep.
But sometimes, you know, they do deteriorate quicker. Somebody was going through the brush and nicks a strand on there. And my suggestion is if the integrity is compromised on any of your strings and cables, you should have them replaced.
Yep.
There's just too much pressure on there. You're talking 180 pounds of draw weight.
I was just going to say, I
165
mean,
pounds.
normal guy pulls 65, maybe
Yeah.
60,
Right.
65 on his vertical
Yeah.
bowl.
Think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's 180. It's
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, that should be done every year. No different than a vertical bow.
Yep.
I mean, it's a very expensive piece of equipment, not unlike a firearm. I mean, they do demand some maintenance. If you want it to function the way that you expect it to function, these are some of the things that you need to do.
well, and it's really important, as we talk about on here all the time about how limited days you have to hunt and fish and that type of
Right.
stuff, right? So now all of a sudden now you go out, it doesn't work, and these are all things you can do to make
Yep.
sure it works when you go out.
Well, how many
Absolutely.
times has it happened? A guy comes in October 25th, his crossbow is not working properly, and then he's like, "Well, did you know the rut's coming up?" Like, yeah.
Same time
then
every
again,
year, buddy.
Yeah. It just comes back to, you know, being instructed properly and having the knowledge on the other hand too of, okay, this doesn't look right, that doesn't look right. You know, get it in here ahead of time. Like Mark said, get your crossbow in now. First of all, the archery service part is not as busy as it is come July.
What are we at a turnaround time right now?
On crossbow, it depends on what needs to be done.
Oh,
but
right, just
typically, I
average-ish.
mean, if somebody brings it in for a tune-up right now, I can do it in 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Some stuff has to sit here because I'm waiting for parts or,
Right.
you know, like I just repaired a Raven
But,
today that we're missing
2
some
3
stuff
days
for,
they'll
so-
get it back.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
get it. It's
No, but
not
I
like
mean,
we're months
right.
behind.
No. My gear, during peak season,
Oh.
I don't want those things here.
No.
I need to keep turning them around,
Yes.
turning them around because, number one, it keeps me going.
Yep.
And it also gets that back in the customer's hands as quick as
To
possible.
use it. So
Yep.
this is the time to get in. For crossbow or vertical bow maintenance, now is the time.
Yep.
You know, we're strings and cables. If you have any questions, come in. Mark or Eggert will look them over. And we'll do that generally for free. Now,
Yep.
we'll look them over for free. Now, if there's maintenance, then you're going to look at a charge of some kind. But don't wait. Now is the time, because once
yeah.
July 4th typically hits
Yep,
around here,
that's the magic day.
that's what we say the kickoff
Yep.
is. Now we get the question of, wow, you're a week, dude. There's 10 other bows that came in 2 minutes before you walked
Right.
in the door.
Right. And I think that's, Matt, that goes back to us from the day when we opened the doors here, is coaching people to do that stuff. Don't wait till the 4th of July. Bring that in before that
Yes.
if you want it back quicker. And that really has come to fruition over the years,
Yep.
is that people have realized, you know, we're looking at bows in May, April, May, June.
Yep.
And all of that stuff, guys are making sure that their equipment's ready to rock and roll because they want to be that day that they want to get out in the tree. Like
Right.
Ryan mentioned, I only got 5 days to hunt, and I
Right.
need to have my
Well,
need to have my
vacation days.
equipment.
I mean, we've got a lot of people around here that have already scheduled out their November
November
vacations.
already.
Right? I mean, looking at this vacation schedule,
Right.
November's already packed.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
nobody works here in November.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, you schedule it out a year ahead of time almost.
Yeah,
It's,
get
it's
your
important
stuff
that it
done.
works.
Get
Yeah,
it in, get it taken care of, and then that's just one less thing that the customer has to worry about.
Yeah, and I probably had, I'm going to rough guesstimate here that, you know, probably anywhere between 30 and 40 guys that I told, as soon as you're done using it,
Bring it in.
bring it in.
Yep.
After the season. Guys, a lot of guys out there hunting right up till the last day.
Oh yeah.
I go, bring it in after the season, after you're done using it, regardless of what your time frame is, and get it done,
Right.
and then you're ready to go. Because
Well,
basically, I'm winterizing and I'm prepping you for in case you want a turkey hunt or something.
Yes, exactly.
Spring
That's what I
comes.
was just going to say. And especially now, if you're looking at turkey hunting with this thing, which these crossbows are magnificent for that, like, don't wait.
No.
Don't wait, because
No.
there's going to be a pile of people starting to get their crossbows in
Correct.
after they see this.
Yep.
Now, I do have a question that we get all the time, and I'm going to have your professional opinion on it. How long do you leave your crossbow cocked?
You know, that this is my answer to that question to everybody. When you're done with it, decock it.
Decock it.
It's realistically, it's going to be cocked all day long. They're designed to be that way, but I think the longer you leave it cocked, the more
We just put stress on everything.
Yeah.
the chance of something happening are pretty strong. And
Yes.
I'll correlate that to a situation that happened in the store where the son had the dad's crossbow and left it cocked for like a week. Guess what? Broke. Yeah.
Yep.
So that could have been due to some other issue,
Right.
but doing that just kind of
Well, leaving it cocked probably just accelerated whatever was going wrong with
Precisely.
it. Is
Right.
what
precisely.
happened.
Right.
So yeah, when you're done using it, shoot it.
Shoot it off. And I
Yep.
always inform the customer too. That's a confidence booster for you as well. You know, take a time, shoot a 20-yard shot, make sure your bolt is hitting where you want it to be, and now you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Now you have nothing to blame it on if you do. So, and then what about discharging bows that need to be discharged?
Mhm.
What do you recommend for that? And if you just want to briefly, I don't know how long we want to talk crossbows. We could make this a whole hour show of. But how do you?
Well, you've done a good job of that already, Matt.
It's not on the board. So I'm just saying, like, so educate these guys and gals the best way to discharge a crossbow if you have to.
I recommend two things. Number one, you can use a discharge bolt, a biodegradable discharge bolt. 10-point makes them. I recommend that if you want to go that route. If you're not using your crossbow a lot, if you are and you need to discharge it regularly, then get yourself a small target or a bag target and carry it with you in your vehicle.
Yep.
You can walk out with your crossbow cocked as long as there's not an arrow in it.
Right.
So discharge it or keep it next to your stand. I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't want to be making any noise next to my stand. But
Right.
wherever you walk out to, whether it's your vehicle, your shed, or whatever it is, discharge it then and be done. Don't shoot bolts into the ground. They make discharge bolts with a heavy lead head on the end. I'm reluctant to tell anybody to do that for the simple fact most guys are going to aim that thing down at like a 45-degree
Right.
angle. And what can happen is now the weighted end can actually pull that knock away from the string. If there's any fraction of a gap between that arrow and that string, it's a semi-dry fire.
Yep.
It's going to blow.
Okay.
And I've had many of those happen too, and I've asked the question, were you using a discharge bolt? Yeah, with a weight on the end, yes.
Right.
Because if you go like this, it doesn't take much for that just to slide out, just enough. If your arrow holder maybe isn't set properly, or there could be a variety of reasons.
Right.
But I discourage that, especially on the 10 points. 10 points recommend that you use their Omni Cubs or discharge it into some type of a target.
Perfect. That's the answer I was looking for. So we'll kind of move on, but just remember, if anybody else has any questions for Mark, since he's here on crossbows or anything
Wicked
in
Ridge
general.
has come a long way. Just form size.
That
I mean, those
bullet-
things used to be this wide. You
Oh
know?
yeah, I mean just the compactness of it, the weight and the skeletonized stock. I mean they're amazing. It's going to do well.
Zach just sent me a map. I didn't even realize I was scooting.
You get
My
all.
chair, my chair
You're always
hasn't moved.
moving, and all of a
My
sudden I
chair
was like,
hasn't
I'm
moved.
telling
I'm like
you, get-
watching. You can see. Okay, so for people who are watching.
So, anyways, Mark, Zach said I was moving towards him. Now, you
Yeah.
can't see
Yep.
the
He
comments.
said scooting.
yeah, scooting.
You were scooting towards me.
Yeah, I wasn't even moving.
Yeah, you were.
Anyway.
you
Yeah,
should
no, this
watch,
is what
go
happens
back
every
and
time
watch.
we
She's
start
just
talking
doing
about
this.
hunting stuff. Mac, it's all twitchy.
Well, guys, it's
really does.
already ended, and I can't wait. So,
All twitchy.
anyways, back on point.
Just
If-
remember, you can just check right here to see where you're at.
no,
Or
there's
right
nothing
there.
on that one.
There's
bro.
nothing here.
No,
No.
it's on this one.
So do your job.
No, this one's fine. You're right. It's just
Oh.
your point at
So,
the
but you
screen.
could.
Anybody's got any questions for Mark? Join. You can ask him on social media. We'll inform him. Zach will inform him. And then
Definitely.
we also have the promo code going on right now. Zach, tell him about that.
Yeah, TRS Live.
Yep.
Just promo code right on our website. Pick out what you want as long as it's not pre-discounted or mapped. Put that in your cart upon checkout. Go to promo code box. Type in TRS Live, all caps, no spaces. 15% off.
It's nice to hear
So-
Zach's voice again. He was so
Yeah.
quiet this whole show. So
I'm just letting you guys
I'm
talk
not used
about.
I'm not used to being
I
so
know,
quiet.
I know. So
Oh yeah, that's
now I'm
that.
done scooting.
You're done scooting.
my chair.
You're in frame.
Take the wheels off this.
Now
chair.
you're going to be really conscious of
Yeah.
it. Now you're going to be like,
Between be safe and now I'm scooting. I don't know what I can. I'm doing everything
Well,
wrong.
if anybody's got
Everything.
any crossbow questions, please ask.
Yeah.
We got them while
Ask
Mark's
Mark,
here.
or anything
So-
in general.
And Mark, this isn't like the only time Mark's going to be
Oh,
on the
God,
show.
no,
We're going to be on the show a
Let's
lot.
take
so-
advantage of it.
and call me anytime in the store
Yes.
too. I mean, I'm more than happy to answer any questions and
Or your radio
get people
show.
guided or
Oh.
So what's the
Sure.
deal with let's talk about that for a minute. So Mark hosts a radio show on Appleton, correct?
yeah.
So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Oh my! You know what? It's been 10 years already, and I think going back,
So you must have started that right before you started working here then.
I was
Really close.
Yep,
Oh,
very
wow.
close to
I didn't
that.
know that.
Very close to that. And yeah, that's been kind of a really it kind of fell into my lap kind of sort of. They were looking for somebody to replace their existing host and they're like, "Okay, well, who does anybody know that's an outdoor junkie that likes to talk and has a passion for the outdoors?"
Right.
And they called me up and they're like, "Hey, you want to try this?" I'm like, "Well, I don't have any radio experience, but hey, I'll give it a go."
Right.
And I said after 5 years, we'll reevaluate it and see what happens. And it continued to grow, and it still does. And it's just a lot of fun. And I think that the challenge after all these years is keeping the content fresh and keeping the guests. I mean, I have a lot of guests that come on once a year because people email me and they say, "Hey, can you bring, this guy back on to talk about, Jim Binder with trapping. Everybody waits for him to come on."
Right.
And Don Kirby with the, he's now working outside of the Wisconsin Waterfowl Association. But it's that part that it's kind of built over the years. And what's really kind of funny about it is when I'm out on the floor, people approach me and they'll go, "Hey, are you the guy that does that radio show?"
Yes.
And then they say, "You don't look anything like your voice." No, and my response to that is, "No, I'm a lot uglier." But it's kind of cool, and it's for me, it makes me feel good about what I do because hopefully somewhere along the line I could have impacted somebody's life through the outdoors, which I think is really strong. And to do that, to get somebody exposed to do something, and I'll just cite one example is we had a person go through the Learn to Hunt Turkey program, which you and Matt, both of us are involved with that. You do the kids, I do the adults. And we had a person come through that heard through the radio show, through the program, got involved in the program, and now is a mentor.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
that's kind of
That's
cool
cool.
to see that
Yep.
that progression of how people can take that and pass it on, because I think what's important for all of us people who are outdoor people is that we continue to develop and pass on the stewardship of the outdoors. And that's what my goal has always been with the radio show, and it will continue to be that. So other than that, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I think pretty much everybody you've been on.
Yep.
And I think my first exposure to Brian was on the show because your dad
With the
would come in.
Iditarod?
Well, no, your
No?
dad would come on and we talk about the Iditarod, and then Jim said to me, he goes, "Hey, I'd like to bring my son on and talk about fishing." And it came on with your dad, and I tried to
Okay.
look back in my log to figure out what date that was, but that was the first time that
Really?
I had met you. Yep.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah, and your dad used to come on and we'd talk about the Iditarod and get the excitement all pumped up for all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's still continuing to go on, and we'll continue to do it as long as I'm having fun.
So talk about what day and what time and where they can listen to it.
Yeah, it's every Wednesday night from 5 to 6 on 95.3. You can also go on to iTunes and download the podcast. If you do miss, you can go back and listen to any of the previous broadcasts. I think it goes back like a year and a half. Used to go back a lot farther, but I don't think there's really any sense to have anything that goes way far back.
Right.
But anything that's new in relative, you can go back and download this as well. And you can also go to thescorewi.com and download them from there.
You said what time does it start?
5 to 6
Okay,
every Wednesday.
I'm putting that on here so
Yep.
people can.
It is a live.
tune in.
Sometimes we do, tape some interviews based on people's availability and things of that nature. It's a rarity. We try to do as much of that stuff live as we can just to generate questions and interest and stuff because, like our monthly Ask a Game Warden show, we usually get a lot of calls on that as well because there's so many changes going on within the structure of the outdoor world that it's good to have that out there.
So what's tonight's show about? It's Wednesday.
Ask a Game Warden.
Is it?
Is it
tonight?
really? Perfect.
Wow.
There you go.
That
Yep.
worked out perfect.
Yeah, and what's cool about that is my normal co-host is out on maternity leave, so I've got another young lady who's out in your neck of the woods in Winneconne, and she brings in, they have new recruits, and it's a great opportunity for these new wardens to come in and get introduced to the people in the area, and we kind of get their background information. So we've got a new one of those coming in tonight as well. So that's also kind of exciting.
Excellent.
Sweet.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions, you can. Do they email them or or
You
could
can
just call in?
Yeah, 281-1570 or 866-653-1570.
It's like you've done that.
I was
before.
going to say that sounded rehearsed. Here we go.
That just comes out like I'm in the grocery store.
Right.
And you're like, did you find everything you need? No, 281-1570. Oh, sorry.
Very nice.
But yeah, thank you for asking. It's a lot of fun, and it really
And it is a good time when you're on the show. Mark does a great job.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Like
fun.
Megan's been on the show, I've been on it, and Mark, just like we try to do with people here, he coaches you right through it. You know, you're a little nervous at first, and all of a sudden Mark's just like, next thing you know, you're 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever is over with, and
yeah.
you're on to the next guest. So
Yeah, people always say, what are we going to talk about for an hour? And then we get there. It's like, geez, I only got through the first 3 items on my list.
we always say the same thing here, and by the time Matt's done talking about bull hunting, it's 45 minutes later.
Yeah, and that's just it. And
don't
it's-
hate, Brian. Don't hate.
that's the fun aspect of doing something like this, because you talk about stuff that you're passionate about, and you get your guests to
I
talk
agree.
about that.
Yes.
That transfers over to everybody else. And,
Right.
and one of the other most common comments that I get emailed to me and said to me, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun. I go, that's the key.
Right.
You
Why
don't have
do it
fun.
if
Why are
you're
you
not?
doing it?
Yep.
You know, I mean, it shouldn't be, you know.
That's what Brian says about this. If we start walking in the door and we're like, oh, we got to do this again, well, then
Then
it's
we're
not-
going
it's
to come
not
up with
fun
something
anymore.
else to do.
Yep.
Put
Yep.
you back,
I
put you in a
agree.
warehouse.
Put you in a warehouse, yeah. Pick all the packages.
So Larry had a question. He says, do cables have a stretch that lessen the performance?
You actually, as they stretch, yes. The strings and cables, as they start to stretch, it actually changes. The axle to axle on the boat is no different than a vertical bow. But yes, it will diminish, and what will happen is you'll lose your feet per second and your performance.
Okay.
Yep.
So typically, if you do one, you do both.
Yes.
The whole
And-
set,
and-
right?
Yeah.
You
and,
do
and
the whole set.
Get
Yep.
that asked a lot. Oh, I need my string replaced. No, you don't. It's like replacing one tire on your car. All of them have to be done at the same time
Right.
so that it's properly timed and properly tuned with all brand new material.
There's exceptions to the rule. Like
There are.
if it's a brand new bone, you cut it. I mean, then
Correct.
you can probably get away. But
Yep.
at that point, it's just a whole lot easier to do.
And then
it.
we build those all in-house too, right?
Oh,
Correct.
absolutely. Great
the 10
quality,
points.
too. And I mean,
And
especially.
you get some custom colors and
Yep.
some fancy-looking stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome now because we're not waiting on a turnaround time for 3 to 5 days to get a set of string and cables. I put the order in, Mike builds them, and I could realistically have them, the same day if he's not busy. Otherwise, it's 3 days, and once I get them, it's an hour job to get it done and out the door.
Yep.
So that is a huge asset to have that stuff built right here within the shop. So
So you've been doing living the outdoors for 10 years. Congratulations on that. And how long have you worked for the Real Shot?
Since day one. Mark was the second guy I hired when I started this business.
So and that's how long has the Real
It would
Shop
have
been in
been,
existence?
we opened in December of 2010.
Yep.
So I think he started in June.
I think my first start day was in late August, early
August, okay.
September when I started to put the assortments
Because,
together.
this stuff just doesn't magically happen. It takes a while to build all this,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mark has been through every iteration that this business has been through since 2010.
Right.
Yeah, all the way from the dimly lit Oshkosh store and the dust and the noise and all the stuff. I mean, it's kind of not many people get an opportunity to do that in a business where you
Right.
start from scratch and get to where we are now. And I mean, it's a long road, but the road is it's like one of those rustic road trails. You drive down and it's like, God, this is awesome.
Do you
Yeah.
remember when they were building the tank, the fish? We had this huge aquarium in Oshkosh, which I personally miss. I know Justin hated it.
Let's get it. I'm all for
It
it.
was-
I'm all for it.
It was cool and it's right. Whatever. Should I have done it? No, but whatever. It was cool at the time.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
But when they were building that, we were under a deadline trying to get the store open, that type of thing. And remember all the plastic sheeting we had over? We had to lift plastic sheeting to peg hooks and the dust, and then oh my god,
Oh, man.
it was terrible.
Well,
Yeah.
that's like when this place was being built here for the longest time. Like, and remember when they were doing all that construction in the warehouse?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to clean gondolas
Well,
daily.
Well, and then when this thing was getting built here, I remember Justin was sitting in the back. You guys were all front pegging. He was sitting in the back in a 5-gallon bucket pegging under the. It was like this dark lit.
Yep.
Yeah, there was like no lighting in there. It was kind of scary, and
To see where we've went from that to where we're moving towards now, and the gun cabinet being built. I mean, Marc, like I said, he's been here since day one. We've been through a lot in the last 9 years.
Yeah, we have, and it's all.
And we're
been,
still smiling most of the time.
Yeah, well, we all have our moments. I mean, sometimes you want to sit in the corner and poke your eye out with a peg hook, but
Right.
the thing of it is that it's been such a
Pretty sure I found Justin sucking on a peg hook one time.
yeah, I did too, but I didn't
He
want to.
did. He was sitting in the
wanna say
corner
anything.
sucking on a peg hook. He was just exhausted.
Oh man.
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. It was actually at a trade show. He said that. I'm just gonna go in the corner and suck on a peg hook.
Now, real quick, you guys mentioned the gun counter. If you guys who are watching haven't looked at our Instagram lately, we just posted like the first photo we took of it being built and what it looks like now, and it looks really cool.
Oh, it looks
Like,
awesome.
Oh, Steve's doing a great job getting that all laid out.
I like the overhang. It looks
Yeah.
like a little hut, like a
Yeah.
house.
And that was
almost,
that was kind of a brainstormed solution to a couple of problems we were having.
well, because that's for the lights, right? That's for the lights.
Well, I walked in there and it looked really good. And I'm like, how are we going to light these? We got 300 guns showing up. How are we going to light these properly so it looks cool? I mean, I want it to look badass, right? I mean, got a lot of money going into this stuff. I don't want it to look just average. I want it to look badass.
Right.
You look at it just the way it is right now, and it's not even completed. When you see the whole package, you're going to walk in there, and there's going to be nothing like it.
Well, and
in
I
this
think
area
the
at
guys
all.
that might have been a little upset because we shrunk the range from 50 down to 30. I think they can start seeing what is happening now, right? Like when we initially did it, and that you couldn't. It was they didn't know what we were planning.
Right.
I think now that they can kind of see, whoa, holy cow, that's a lot of guns.
Yeah, it is.
And that's just the vertical guns, right? We
Yeah.
don't even have the cabinets yet for the handguns and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But now they can see that. Once we get the wall ripped out and it really opens the store up, I think guys are going to they'll start to see the vision a little bit
understand.
more, and I think it's going to be worth it for everybody.
Oh, I think so, and I think the guys, some of our regulars, you hit it right on the head, are like, oh, this is
It's
going to be a lot
different.
cooler than what I expected.
Yeah,
it
I
to
think
be,
it's just
but-
different,
And
Well-
then everybody understands why that is. And at first there was a little bit of grumbling in regards to that, but hey, it is.
And that's just an echo of what you guys did when I told you what I wanted to do.
yeah.
For those who don't know how Brian operates, it's 30 seconds before, hey guys, we're going live, but I want all this changed. Good luck.
And shout out to Zach because that is today.
Yeah.
We've got I never settle until I'm happy, and I think I might be getting sort of happy because
We're
I just
getting
wasn't
there.
happy with how Zach was able to run the stream. I wanted to switch in between. If you watched the stream last week, there was a little delay between switching
Right.
cameras. Well, I
Every
fixed
camera
that.
had a delay. Everything was just
Right.
it was working, but it just wasn't where we wanted it to be.
Right. It was the same way I do everything. It just wasn't perfect.
Right.
Right. So I found the solution to that, and there was a couple kinks, and luckily Zach was able to get that going in about 20 minutes.
692 milliseconds.
So
That's
you
the
were,
change.
You
That's all
were
we gotta
the-
know.
You were the man back there, Zach.
Is
I'm not
that
gonna lie.
so that
692 milliseconds between us having a delay and not having a delay in audio and
Yeah,
everything.
he got it fixed like
That's
that. It
crazy.
was awesome.
And he did it safely.
He did
Did it safely.
He was safe.
I didn't even hurt myself.
No.
Didn't
Well, I
even
mean,
hurt
I
myself.
think that's a big testament to all you guys. So I really appreciate everybody that
Yeah.
has put a lot of time in, especially Mark. You've been here. A lot of the guys that are here are because of Mark.
Right.
You're here because
I'm
of
here,
Mark.
Yep.
Well, you're here because of me because I told Mark to go get you from that trade show.
Still regrets that day.
Well, but I mean, Mark
was.
Mark made it happen for me. Mark's made a lot of stuff happen for me over the last 9 years. So thank you very, very much. I mean, I couldn't do this.
appreciate the kind words.
I mean, I couldn't have done this without Mark.
For sure.
There's
Thank you.
zero chance,
Yep.
right?
Appreciate
Zero
that.
chance. He had a lot of the industry contacts, the customer service piece of the puzzle, the archery service work piece of that. I mean, I came with a lot of fishing knowledge, but
Yeah.
I didn't know the archery world. I still don't really know the archery world as well as you guys do, and that's why I make sure I keep a lot of archery guys around. So
Yeah, and it's we've assembled a really good team. I mean, you're always striving to be better at what you do. If you don't do that, then you might as well just fold up and go home.
well, I agree.
You always have to look for ways that you can get better, and I think how we've been able to develop and grow this business is our customer service and how we treat people and our knowledge and things of that nature. And I think we've done a good job of getting the right people in the right place on the bus going the same direction. So, and I think that's critical in any business. but it's really been, not many people get to do what I've been able to do with Brian, and I'm really honored to have been a part of that, because to see something start, it's like having a child.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yep.
The child is born. Hey, this is great. Oh, now they're up all night. And all this steady progression to all of a sudden now they want to drive
Matt's
the
almost
car
out of
and you're
diapers
up
now.
all night.
Matt's almost out of diapers since day one. No, I'm
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, it's okay. Wait till you get to be my age, and you'll be back
Yeah,
in the
right
diaper
back
But I
again.
mean, like the first, like when we moved from Oshkosh to this location, because we were picking up a couple brands that one of the other vendors went out. We moved up here, found this location. I mean, I went on a tirade trying to find a place to put this store.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if you probably remember that, but that's
I
pretty
do,
much
yeah.
all I did for months was trying to figure out where we were going to put the store, and you
Yeah.
ran the store in Oshkosh and all of that. When we got here and we hired Matt and we opened the doors in this place, I don't think any of us really knew what was going to unfold.
Especially too because he opened it in August. Now I just sent you a picture. I don't know if
I
you can-
can't get it. It's from a private page, I think. It just goes
Oh, it's
attachment
from-
unavailable.
I wonder if I can change.
So
it.
while you're looking for that, Andy Waters wanted to know if we service Horton crossbows, and that's obviously
Absolutely.
Now they're
Yep.
owned by 10 Point, correct?
Yeah, Horton is there's Wicked Ridge, 10 Point, and Horton.
Now that does that fall underneath the 10 Point Service Center then?
It does.
So we can
Yep.
get all the parts, all the
Yep.
stuff. So
yeah, as long as it's a newer model. If it's an older
All
one,
right, I think I should.
then you might have some issues just because there aren't any parts available
Okay,
for any of the
right.
older Horton bows. But anything that's newer, since 10 Point has taken on the Horton name, I can fix it.
okay, perfect. So there you go. There's your question, Andy. Thank you very much for
Thanks,
asking.
Andy.
Yeah, good question.
So what were you trying to share?
I found a newspaper article from when this store was just about to open.
Oh, really? From the
Oh,
Buzz?
from the paper?
From the- yeah.
I just found that the other day, and I'm
I'm
like,
trying to- I'm
you're
trying to-
putting labels on.
Well, while you're
tag
looking
notes.
for that, I mean, we opened an archery store in August.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. You opened an archery
it was
store
not
in
probably the
August.
smartest thing I've ever done. Because it was just a full. Well, if you're familiar with the Appleton layout, there's nothing on this side of town.
Right.
We are it. And now with the firearm editions, there's no reason to drive to the other side of Appleton anymore.
Right.
We have all of it.
Yep.
Correct.
So when we opened that thing, I mean, there was a lot of people here who were like, "Oh, great, archery shop right next to my house. Here we go."
Right.
And it was just a flood. I mean, Mark and Matt were here countless hours in the morning trying to keep bows up and running, and it was.
Dude, we I don't know if we left.
You know,
There
though,
were
with this
days we
locations. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it was. We had no clue. We knew we were going to get bombarded just for the simple fact.
I don't know
there's
if we knew it
nothing
was
here.
going to be like
but
that, though.
not to that extent, and we kept our head above water. I think we got a little testy there at the end because
I mean-
it was nonstop.
The reason I brought that up is that you've always tackled any task I've ever given you, Mark. And the reason that we're able to now get into guns and have the show and do all these things is because we survived that initial
Yep.
onslaught.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, seriously.
No,
a lot of
it's true.
places could have possibly folded in that environment. It was really hectic.
It was chaotic.
I
yeah.
mean, between me trying to keep the fishing thing going and you guys with the service things, I mean, it could have went really badly if we didn't have a good system and be able to track the service orders and the customer service aspect. And obviously, brand new store, everything wasn't perfect right away. So I mean, dealing with unhappy customers once in a while, if it was due to a process issue or whatever, and we've worked our way through a lot of
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
we wouldn't
absolutely.
be sitting at this table right now having this conversation if you two primarily, wouldn't have figured out a way to make that happen. So that's,
it's a commitment. But when you're into something and it's in the best interest, you do what you need to do to get it done, and that pays off somewhere down the line. It just
well, and I
does.
think we're here.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at that where we've come, and how many people that are now within the organization making it kick. I mean, you got your own social
How many
media
people? How many
department.
people did we have when we first started? Obviously, it was you and me. But like when we opened the store, what was it, like 7?
Oh, yeah, I think it was
Maybe.
with Justin, myself, Jeff, you, and then I think we had a couple of part-timers.
Right. No,
And
but I
then-
mean, like when we started the Appleton East store here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously back then it was a lot
Yep.
smaller.
Yeah, there was
That was back when I still knew how to
Yeah.
run the register.
I think all total, I think there were like 5 or 6 of us
When
here.
we opened this one.
Yep.
Now we're at 22.
Holy man.
Now
Yeah.
we're at 22 people as of we've got full-time people just doing data entry on new product additions
Right.
just to try to keep the website up to date.
Well, I know.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the the logistical things that have gone into actually get this thing to hum the way that it does.
There's so
from
much more behind the
e-commerce.
scenes now. Well, and now with this huge, well, and you're feeling the full brunt of the inventory expansion,
Mm-hmm.
going from say $400,000 of inventory to $2 million. Right? I mean, that's not a small feat on all fronts.
Mm-hmm.
Product creation, PO creation. Just what do you buy? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
right? What do the customers want? And then now we got to now it's all here. Now we got to merchandise it. Got to
Right.
get pictures taken for the web. We got, and I think a lot of the Great Lakes customers after the merger with Anglers Avenue, a lot of that stuff's showing up on the floor now, and there's a little bit of pain within that segment because it's taken us a while to get all that online.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking the Great Lakes assortment we have now is as big as our entire inventory used to be as a whole in
Right.
Oshkosh.
Right. It's a
Right.
huge
Just one
assortment.
category.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So we're working our way through all of that, and I think the end product's going to be awesome because that's how we try to do things.
Yep.
But there's a little bit of growing pains here it's a massive expansion that we're working on here.
Yep.
I mean, just
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah. I mean, when.
Well, not to mention, you just meant, what did you say the other day? We got 130 some guns showing up this week.
Yeah.
Oh, is that this? Oh, man,
I mean,
I forgot about that.
Not
Oh,
only
yeah.
are we trying to put, all this Great Lakes stuff on, oh, by the way, we got a whole nother new business we're starting at the same time. That's just how I roll.
Yeah. Yeah. It proposes challenges, but I'm a pretty fortunate guy on a lot of respects, but I think I'm fortunate to have the support of the staff that I have on the floor right now.
Yeah.
Including Steve. Steve and I go back. We've got quite a history. He was basically my product specialist and my right-hand person when I was at Gander, so he understands what my expectations are, and he knows what he needs to do to get it done, and I could not do it without him. And it's just his knowledge and his experience and his willingness to say, hey, you know what, Mark, don't worry about that. Give it to me. I'll take care of it.
Yep.
And that allows me the freedom to still be able to do what I need to do on the floor and work on the crossbows and keep that humming.
Right.
Like I alluded to earlier, there's some newer guys on the floor that are still becoming acclimated to what we do here in our procedures and things of that nature. And then on top of that, you add the expanded inventory and the changing and inner work. So I'm a pretty fortunate guy to have the people that I have that support me and allow me to continue to do what I'm doing.
Now,
So,
wasn't there an agreement with you and Steve when you, back when you guys both worked for Gander?
Yeah.
Wasn't there some kind of an agreement that, if you ever left, you were supposed to take him with you?
Yeah, and he got really mad at me.
Right,
'cause I
right.
didn't.
Well, no,
He
but
talked to me for a while after that.
no, but I mean, it happened.
Yep.
Maybe what your response should have been, well, we never set a timeline. Okay?
Right.
So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we talk about that. We just talked about it the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took you a while, but here we are.
see,
we kinda
in my
look back-
defense, I've been pushing for firearms since probably day one. And I had a lot of, hey, wait, no, maybe not, I don't know, not right timing, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, Steve, when you listen to this, it was not my fault.
nor was it Mark's.
No,
on
I'm
now.
just kidding. I'm just
I
kidding.
know, but it's the perfect time for it, right?
Oh, I
now.
agree.
It is the
Yeah.
perfect time.
It is. I think it's one of the last pieces of the puzzle to put into place to make us that destination here
Well, we have it all now.
in northeast Wisconsin.
And that's been our number one question forever. Do you sell firearms? Do you have ammo? I mean,
Right.
it's been number one since day one in Oshkosh has been that
Yep.
question. So
right.
I think if we would have done it at any other time other than right now, though, I don't think we would have been able to facilitate it.
I blame
Right.
it on the logo. The logo always had a crosshair on it.
It did.
I always thought before we were announced we were getting guns, it should have been if you were going to change it, you should have put like a 3
For
pin.
for bulls,
Yeah, but now it worked out. Or no, with crossbows, but anyways.
Yeah.
I was looking.
So
ahead a
real
little bit.
quick,
Yeah.
I'm gonna break in here real quick. So, number one with Larry's question, he asked, "What's with that little cute little bike in the background?" That's actually how Matt gets to work. He rides that to work every day.
With flat tires.
Flat tires. He's got to deflate the tires for the snow.
How do you
Well,
think he
a little
looks
bit
so
better
good?
traction.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was going to say.
Got to
we're-
stay in shape.
We're in the process of making a weight loss fitness challenge here in the
Oh,
store. We're
jeez.
not sure what we're gonna do yet. So
I'm gonna bail on that one.
I'm
man.
gonna.
I'm actually gonna try because I could definitely use it. So
Yeah, me too.
I think we
excited.
should. This would be awesome.
Larry did want to give you a huge shout out, Mark. He says is the best hands down. Always makes everyone feel welcome, and his archery knowledge is priceless. So. Getting some.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's
Yeah,
that's the kind
Larry
of stuff.
Eaton. Yep.
That's the kind of stuff when people tell you that it just comes full circle. That all the hard work and the long hours and the busyness and stuff like that. When somebody just steps up and says, "Hey, you know what? You're doing a great job,
Yep.
and keep doing what you're doing." I mean, that means a lot. It particular to me.
So real quick to go off of that, I just want to go on a personal sidetrack here to go along with that is Brian, you are football minded like crazy, okay? And you call audibles all the time.
I did coach
literally
football
all
for
the
10
time.
years.
I mean, literally, it'll be five minutes before we're gonna do something. You're like, you know what, we're doing it totally different, and it's great though because usually we have the right people
Well,
to pull it
between
off.
me and you, we usually pull it off.
Right. Well, we think on the same wavelength
Yep.
a lot of the time.
I
But
agree.
what I've noticed just as being the new guy around here and seeing the way that the team is built and the way that the audibles are called and the way that we're moving is there's a very huge difference between the way we operate versus anywhere I've ever worked. Because anywhere else that I've ever been, you just stick somebody in the job they applied for. That's it. And if it doesn't work out, it's either they just suck at their job and you ignore it, or you fire them, or they leave. Here, it's okay. You're dedicated, right? There's an insane amount of dedication from the crew here. I mean, absolute. I've never seen a more
That comes
dedicated
from my
staff.
football background too.
Right, but I've never seen a more dedicated staff ever. But
We used to have to do wind sprints in the parking lot.
right, were you guys doing suicides too?
Yeah,
Like if we have
yeah.
to start doing suicides, I'm done. I'm out.
Fitness challenge, dude. You just said you're in.
Maybe. But no, I mean, with all the dedication and the amount of times that you personally put into trying to figure out what the right fit is for everybody, I think that's why there's such a successful staff, is because everybody's happy doing what they're doing. Everyone's dedicated to the name, the brand, and, you know, realistically to you, that I don't think you've ever really done anyone wrong. And, well, from what I've seen, I
Try
don't know.
to.
But,
I try not to.
But you know what I mean, is you just, I don't know, we've got a good leader here, and we've definitely got a good staff, and it makes it work.
Tell
Yeah.
me, get it off. Get it off your, Zach, your nose is a little brown. At the end there.
But it's true. It's real fact.
It is. It is.
I wouldn't be saying it on camera if it wasn't.
Right.
That's not
Or
how I
you're
am.
looking
No,
for a
thank you
raise,
very much.
Whatever one. You're
Right,
looking
right.
for a raise,
That
looking-
review's coming up pretty quick.
See, the thing about that is, I think I handle his review, right?
Yeah, you
do. Oh, well, cool.
Keep her
Well
moving.
then.
Yeah. But no, so I got a couple questions for you, Mark. So obviously we're getting guns in. Now I wanted to know, besides helping pick the guns. Now I'm not sure how to phrase this question in a good way, but so like your hunting adventures, you're a big upland bird hunter and you're a big turkey hunter and all that kind of stuff. The question I have is, how by you doing that, how is that going to reflect into our gun assortment, our hunting assortment from here on out, with that kind of product that you're going to recommend and you're going to bring in for that I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
answer
I
that
think-
question.
I think, with
People
all
get
the opportunity.
Wake up, Brian. God dang it.
I just can't. Some days,
Where's
Mark.
Justin? Where's
Some
Justin?
days, Mark. I
Guys?
just can't. I
Guys?
just can't. Oh my God.
I'll rescue you. Anyway,
Yeah, rescue me. Thank you, Mark.
the thing of it is that, again, going back to having the opportunity to get exposed to that. And Steve was basically my mentor when I took over the gun department and taught me. Now, how that's going to be reflected in how I sell people guns, I'm going to share with them my experiences, but they're going to have to tell me what their application is.
Yep.
Certain guns are going to be good for certain applications. You 3-inch waterfowl guns, or you need you wanted to go a little bit more traditional and go with an over and under or side by side for upland game for grouse and woodcock. You want a 10 gauge or a 3.5 inch for goose hunting. A lot of that's based on your application. I'm the kind of guy that, I want to get to know the customer a little bit more and say, okay, what are your interests? And I've got multiple shotguns, but for the most part, I can hunt everything with one gun.
Okay.
But I've got my favorite that I love for grouse hunting. It's got a 26-inch improved cylinder barrel. It's an old Remington 1100. Before they had choke tubes, you have to actually replace the barrel on the gun.
Really?
It's heavy. It's a boat anchor, but
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Did you?
Replacing a barrel?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got
Like
a
a whole
28
barrel
inch,
instead of just the chokes?
Yeah, no.
30-inch
Wow.
full, 28-inch modified, 26 improved cylinder, and number 6 high power, high brass is the best. That combination has put hundreds of grouse on the ground.
Really?
Wow.
Yep, and it's so beat up. The finish is gone. It's just but it's one of my favorite guns, and I've been able to maintain it and keep it working properly for
Right.
boy, I want to say 30 plus years, maybe 35 years. I've
Holy
had that gun.
man.
Now I have a Browning Maxus, which I love that gun. Took me a
Right.
while to learn how to shoot it. I had to shim it a little bit to get it to shoot properly for me. I've had a Benelli Super Black Eagle. I've had a lot of different guns, but I think
Well-
sometimes you have to look at what's going to feel comfortable to you and what's your application. Some people will buy brand specific. That's great, and that's why we'll have Benelli, Beretta, Remington, CZ, all of these options. We're going to have something for everybody.
Shim it. What do you mean by
There's
that?
shims that can go on the back of the stock to actually move it so it fits you better.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that either.
Between him and Steve, I learned gun stuff every day.
Oh, it's amazing.
I didn't even
Why?
know some of this stuff
I didn't.
existed.
Yeah, I didn't even. I was like, shit.
A lot of this gun stuff's way in the back of my head here. I got to
It's
start
starting-
bringing
it's
that
coming out.
forward. I'm struggling because there's not much room left in here anymore.
Right.
You know,
Right.
this old information has to somehow translate and replace the new stuff.
The
But
roads are getting dirty up
Talk
there.
about
Yeah,
that for a
yeah.
second, though. Like, what are you noticing on a gun where you have to shim it? Like, right away, I think of like a bull grip. You know, obviously, if you have a high
Same
grip,
principle.
low grip.
same principle. Yep, they'll give you these shims that you can put in there to be a little bit shallower, just on how you position, you hold the gun.
Huh.
It can truly make a difference. I thought it was a bunch of hooey.
Sounds
until
like
I
a
started
great
doing it.
topic for a whole nother show.
It does.
Yeah, I mean
I'm
that.
astonished by
Should
it.
write
Really.
it down.
Yeah, you get somebody in here
If
that's
you only had a laptop.
Yeah, no, I got one.
yeah, there's in as far as shooting rifles, I'm a muzzleloader guy. I love shooting my
Yep.
muzzleloader. I've transferred over to that. I think I have a 22 rimfire left, but I shoot my muzzleloader.
Yep.
Carl Lidke transferred me over to that and made me become a junkie on that. So I like the one shot, one kill type deal.
Yes.
Well, it's very
Yeah.
close to
I
archery.
totally agree.
Yep.
It's
And
more of
you-
a challenge.
You can modify your loads a little bit. You can use pellets. You can use powder. Your grain weight and your bullets. Finding out what shoots best. My Thompson Center shoots best when it's dirty. When it's at about 4 or 5 shots through it. Tough to get the bullet down the barrel, but it shoots great when it's dirty. I shoot it clean. It's all over the place until it gets dirty.
Really?
Mhm.
Huh.
Yep.
That's interesting. What about the waterfall? You're a big waterfall guy. How is that going to translate to what the products we carry?
Oh, I mean, there's so much. Again, going back to the Browning Maxus and some of the Winchesters, there's a lot of 3.5-inch guns out there. To me, honestly, I think that's kind of a little bit more than what you need to shoot. I mean, it's going to pound you up. Even some of the high-end fast loads, the Remington hypersonics and stuff like that. I mean, they beat you up on a 3-inch. You just have to, figure out what are you shooting? You pass shooting? Are you shooting over decoys? Are you jump shooting? To me, you need to vary your loads based upon that. If you're pass shooting, big Canadas, fine. 3.5 inches is going to be good. If you're jump shooting, your birds are typically going to be pretty close to you.
Yep.
So you don't need a 3.5-inch gun. 3-inch number 4s. If I'm hunting like in the Bay of Green Bay or Lake Winnebago, it's number 2 hypersonics. You got to have something fast and something heavy because those birds they're thick.
Well, and they're moving too.
Yeah, they're
If
cruising.
you've ever do you duck hunt much?
No,
I used to duck hunt a lot in college. If you're ever past shooting divers, they're tough, hardy critters, and they are moving.
Mm-hmm.
have you done that layout
But
boat?
no, I never did the layout thing.
You were telling me about some of those.
I'm addicted. It's like bird crack.
How close is it to like I've done the floating with the lines out in Lake Michigan before.
Mhm.
I've done that. Is it similar, but you're lower in the water?
Yeah, you're low profile, so I mean your distance between you and the water is about 14 inches,
That's awesome.
and you're laying flat into something that looks like a UFO. You're actually laying down, and your gun is facing out, and you're sitting in this boat, and these decoys are set up
On
right.
a line, right?
Yeah, your opening is right down in front of you, and they're set up on both sides. Now, if these guys know what they're doing and they set you up properly, these birds are going to come right down the
I was
center.
gonna say they come right at you, right?
They come right at you,
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
you're looking at them and go, here they come, here they go. Oh,
We used to.
you got to get on them faster. They're
Whoa.
gone,
See, we used to do
especially
that-
bluebills.
Yeah, we used to do that on Lake Michigan for
Mhm.
all the big divers out there, and we'd put
Yep.
a gray tarp over it, and the ducks would actually think it was an island because
Yeah.
we'd have the decoys drifting around behind the boat. We're just drifting out in 200 feet of water
Really?
out off of Manitowoc or Two Rivers, and the ducks they'd circle the boat like an island.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun in numbers of birds and species.
That's a riot.
I've actually.
I
you know,
kind of miss doing it. I just my
I-
buddy Travis, smallmouth crush guy. We're gonna get him in here and whatever. him and I used to duck hunt
All the time.
nonstop. That's all we did.
Yeah, it's a great sport, and I've kind of taken a step back for the last couple of years from bow hunting, even though still that is my passion. But I actually started my hunting career, if you will, by grouse hunting and hunt ducks. So I'm kind of going back to that now maybe call it a middle-age crisis, or who knows what it is. But you kind of you get a little bit older. You want to go back and kind of revisit some of those things that you really enjoyed when you were younger. You know, maybe for 5 minutes it makes me feel a little bit younger.
Yeah, right.
But it does bring back a lot of really good things that happened to me during my life, like hanging around with my buddies and, you know, watching the storm fronts to come in when they've got a big northwest wind that's pushing behind a storm, and I'm not going to make it to school today. Or work's not in the cards, and we've done it and got on it and just had some of the best hunting days when because those winds will bring down a lot of fresh birds.
Yep.
And just being able to do that, and watch the weather and stuff, and just brings that back a little bit, and get involved. And obviously, some of the decoys and things that they make nowadays are incredible.
And as soon as we brought the Rambo bikes in, I noticed that's when you started. I think it kind of opened up some of that grouse woods to you again that maybe you weren't able to get to.
Yeah.
Like in the past or whatever. And that's kind of. I almost saw it. I don't know if it was related or not. Maybe we were going down that road already. Maybe that the bikes just kind of accelerated it. But once we got those, that's when Mark started bow hunting a little bit, less and less and less, and did a little more grouse and duck hunting because he had the ability to get back in there now with that bike.
Right.
Well, that bike, I mean, I was able to get back this last October. I took some time off and went up north and grouse hunted when nobody was around. And I took that Rambo bike and got, like 8 miles back off the roads, way back in there, kind of way back in there, scary. You're getting in all these different areas, and, fortunately I have Onyx hunt, so I know where the heck I'm going. But getting back into areas that people don't hunt because they can't, number one, they can't get back to them with the ATV or a car because it's not even a 2-track.
Right.
It's like a single logging trail that's overgrown. And then having the ability to, now that they made a kayak trailer for that bike, I can get back to some areas where nobody goes because you'd have to physically portage back there or drag it back in. So, that Rambo bike has been...
Some of the pictures you post on your Facebook page of when you're up there grouse hunting are just awesome. I mean, desolate.
I love that. That's
you've
how
seen
it all
a lot
started.
of birds up there too, right?
I saw a lot this year, and I think I attribute that to, number one, they weren't hunted.
Absolutely.
And I think those birds, they transition out of specific habitat when the leaves come down, because they're more susceptible to predation.
Yep.
So I think they move to those edges, the heavy cedar swamps, but you still have to have aspen trees. You have to have those 5 to 10 year aspen trees because they eat the buds off the tree.
Yep.
And that's their habitat, but they have a tendency to move into that, and I don't think they're any different than any other migratory bird. They'll move into that habitat in numbers. And you got to figure that out. And then a lot of people don't hunt without a dog. I shoot more birds, just walking real slow and walk into the wind. They can't hear you.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Never would have thought for a bird you would have to think that much about it, But I don't upland bird hunt ever. So
Right.
If you had grouse are they call turkeys thunder chickens. No,
well, I've heard them drumming in the spring. That's super cool. Be out turkey hunting and you hear them do their little mating dance. But
yeah, and they come off of the ground and they're gone in an instant.
So shooting them, you gotta be ready to go.
You have to really be prepared, because when they burst up off the ground, it's almost like your gun's pointed 4 feet in front of them.
Wow.
And that's because if you start shooting at them, you'll never hit them.
Yeah, way behind them.
You got to almost shoot and let them fly into the pattern.
Wow.
So besides the guns and the firearms, and all the things, that's what I was trying to get into. The products we're also going to carry. We're going to have a great selection of decoys.
Yeah, eventually we're going to work right into that, and I think we're going to take advantage. I think what Brian has built this business on is take advantage of the passion of the guys that are here in the store, and let them work with the products that they know they can sell.
Yep.
And they know work, and they know that they're quality. And I think we're going to work right towards that. And there's several of Andy's another big waterfowl hunting guy. So yeah, I think we're gonna work into that. And develop
upland
that
as well. Like.
Oh sure.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, most definitely. We'll have the loads for that. We'll have hunting vests and eyewear, and all that kind of thing that's going to work towards that. But I'm looking forward to getting those people in who have maybe never grouse hunted before or are just starting to do that, and I can share some stuff with them.
Yeah.
There is an art to it. It's just not like walking out in the woods with Hansel and Gretel looking for breadcrumbs. I mean,
right.
there is a kind of a science to do it if you understand the habitat and the bird itself.
Yep. Another question I have for you is, I always hear you talking with guys about the you have a good selection of animal mounts at your house.
Mhm.
You're always looking for another kind of duck or goose or something like that. What's the target now? What's the one you really want to get?
Well, I'm after two. Number one is a pintail, but unfortunately here in Wisconsin you don't get them plumed out. You've got to go.
I shot one in like the 10 years I duck hunted. I shot one.
You're lucky to get it.
Why they're not plumed out by it? Because
They're just by the time that they migrate through here, a lot of the birds don't get plumed until later in the season.
oh, okay.
So your mallards will be plumed. Sometimes I've shot quite a few birds. It's a rarity. Teal typically are not fully plumed.
Huh.
But you can be lucky enough to get an adult bird that's several years old that will have full plumage.
Oh, wow. I'm
And,
looking up a picture here.
Yeah,
of 'em.
pintails are cool because they got the transitional colors from the head to the white to the back to the sprig in the back, and
So are
Yeah,
these
yeah.
the way they look when they're? This is the way you want
that's
one
a
to look.
fully plumed bird. Yep. When they call that a sprig on the back, when that gets to be 3-4 inches long, you got a pretty good bird.
Oh man.
Yep. So yeah, that, and I've shot a lot of snow geese, but I've shot blue geese, but they weren't mountable.
Oh, okay.
But blue goose is just basically a color variation of a snow goose. So I've done that, and
We don't get those around here much, do we?
not much. But the one that I did, one of the ones that I actually shot across from the prison in Oshkosh.
Oh, wow.
There was a flock of them there. I had permission to Canada goose hunt there, and there was a flock of 8 to 10 of them that I'd been watching. And I actually went there on a Thanksgiving morning. It was still gun season, and put my decoys out because you can waterfowl hunt during the gun season.
Yep.
And I was lucky enough to get 4 of that 8 close enough, and I actually shot the one. Red Simpson mounted it
Oh, wow.
from Winneconne. He actually had to custom build the head. He said that was the biggest snow goose he had ever seen.
Really?
It's another half size bigger than the other ones that I have.
So is this is the blue goose?
that's a
you're-
blue goose. Yep. They actually got the white head that gradiates down into the grayish. They actually look blue
Huh.
when you get close to them. So yeah, the aviary in my house is, I got room for a few more. So
How does Mary Ann feel about that?
oh, she loves them. She goes, that's pretty cool. And for those of us who have taxidermy,
Yeah.
it's like it's a time machine. I can look at every deer, every duck, every goose, every grouse, pheasant that I have mounted. I know exactly what happened.
Yep.
And it takes you back in that point in time. It's like, I remember exactly, the dog did this, or
That's
I
a
did
good way to
that.
put it. I've never thought about
Yeah.
that, but it's 100% true.
It really is. And, you can sit and I'm sure you look in
Oh,
your
yeah.
office and you go, I know exactly when I arrowed
You know
that
the whole
deer.
scenario. I know every deer I've shot. Now that you say that, I know the whole season. 10 years ago, I remember the entire season just thinking about the one.
Can't
mount.
remember birthdays or anniversaries,
No.
but I can tell you where I was. when I
Priorities,
shot my
man,
first-
priorities.
Yep, my first doe and my first buck.
Right?
I know exactly.
But you know the whole story of the whole thing.
Yep.
And it's you're always, reliving that. So
That's really smart. You can't put a price tag on that stuff, right?
You cannot.
So the next time you're
It-
spending $500 on your head mount,
Hey.
can't buy this when I'm
Can't.
old. I'm gonna remember this
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, precisely. It's much more than just being a trophy on the wall. Because some of the deer I've shot are not monsters, but you know what? It was one of the best experiences.
Yep.
And I don't gauge myself as a hunter by how big the deer I shoot. Yeah, have I been lucky and shot some big deer? Yeah, I have. But you know what? I killed my last trip to Iowa. I killed probably one of the smallest deer I ever had in my life. But you know what? I was proud to put my hands on that deer.
Yep.
It was awesome, just awesome.
Yeah, for those who have been in the store, you have one of the deer. It's hanging in your office now.
Mm-hmm.
But you shot that in Iowa. How big is that deer?
He's net 155, but he's like 173 gross.
Is that the Drewek one?
the Drewek?
Yeah,
buck,
he's really cool looking.
Yeah, that I can. Here we go.
Yep.
Hey, remember that story? Can I tell it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we want
Okay.
to hear this.
Well, why
Let's
don't
do it.
we'll wrap up the show then on the story here.
Yeah,
How about
yeah.
that?
All right. Well, because if you don't want me to, I don't have.
No,
to.
no, no.
please.
We
Story
want to-
time.
We want to hear
It's
this.
love
story time.
stories.
This
Wrap
is
it
like
up.
this.
I wanna
is
hear it.
one of
In
my
depth.
best.
These are the best parts.
Yes.
I drew my tag, and it snowed about 3 inches on the ground.
In Iowa.
In Iowa.
Yep.
And he calls me and he goes, "Oh, the deer are moving." He goes, "I got the perfect spot for you." So I got in there on Saturday night, hunted, saw a nice 10-pointer, went back in there the next morning, and it was I talk about this, it's like the perfect, it's got 5 draws that comes into one. It's a big saddle that drops down into a ditch that goes about 2 miles. It's the perfect spot for these deer to travel because they can come through that ditch, get up on the top of that saddle, and they expose themselves. Then they're back down in the ditch. So anyway, I'm sitting. I get up in a tree and I'm pulling my bow up, and it's just starting to get light, and I'm just about get my gun up to the tree. Well, here come 3 bucks, and one of them's big.
So this is muzzleloader season?
No, this is second gun season
In Iowa.
And here come these 3. There's a big 12-pointer, an 8-pointer, and a little dinky one. And I'm trying to pull my gun up, and they're 15 yards away from me. And I'm looking. All of a sudden, the 8-pointer, 12-pointer start fighting. So I'm like this to pull my gun up. I'm trying to load shells in it. Well, the 8-pointer, he spots me. Boom, off they go. I'm like, well, that sucks.
Right.
This is really good. 45 minutes later, here comes this deer, and he comes up the ditch from my left. And I go, this is going to be absolutely perfect. As long as he stays on track, he's going to come right up. He got in that saddle 45 yards, and he stood there. I didn't even have to hesitate. I put the crosshairs on him, and boom. It was all over. He ran about 30 yards, ran smack dab into a tree, and just dropped.
Oh, my God.
And I get excited in because if you don't, stop doing it.
Right.
And I sat in that tree. I was shaking. I'm putting the glasses, and I'm like, oh, my God, I can't even believe that just happened.
You were in a stand an hour.
Yeah, I was in a stand an hour. And it was I got down, and I put my hands on him, and I'm like, wow, this is ridiculous.
No ground shrinkage?
No. Actually, I think he grew when he hit the tree. Almost looked like one of the branches got stuck in his head. But
I wonder.
I wish we had a picture of him right now.
I was going to say, I'm
'cause
trying
he's
to
got
find
some
a
really
picture
cool.
If you just keep talking for a second.
Yeah, it was.
He's almost, I don't want to say palmated, but he's got a little bit of that.
He's
very unique.
Yeah, he carries that mass all the way through the top of his antlers. The one beam is 27 some inches long. It's 23 inches wide. He just split brow tine, a kicker, a sticker. He just has everything that you would want in a really cool looking deer.
Yeah, he's very unique.
Yeah. What's really funny is I called my buddy. I'm like, hey, I got a deer down. He goes, you shoot that 12-pointer? I'm like, no. I said I shot a nice 10-pointer. Okay, I'm coming. Well, he comes up and backs his truck up in there. You should have seen the look on his face.
Oh, I got it, Matt.
You found it?
I just remembered he sent it to me in an email.
Oh.
He said, I've seen a lot of big deer. And he said, I've shot a lot of big deer. But he said, that is nice. That is nice. So that, that was probably one of the highlights.
Look at that.
Oh, there it is.
There he is.
Oh, man.
And you don't look a day older.
Oh, I can't see my hair. That's why I got a hat on. But I did still have a little. I wasn't always totally gray. I had a little.
Right,
I had a little
right.
bit of black.
Yeah, that's a
in there,
monster.
God.
I love how tall he is.
Yes.
Right? A lot of deer get wider.
Look at the
He's
bases.
just so tall.
The bases. A deer with character, you found it.
Yeah, he had everything. I mean, you take a look at the main beams, and nothing's even.
No.
At all. And how high the brow tines are actually up on his rack, and yeah, it was. Needless to say, it was probably one of the most fun rides home. In my hunting.
Do you
career.
even remember the ride home? You're just floating the whole way.
I'm driving and people are, I had a guy, I was taking it over here to Cedar Creek to have it processed and have it caped out because I knew the guy there and I trusted him to cape it. The guy got off on the highway and followed me all the way to Cedar Creek. And he goes, that's the biggest deer I've ever seen. And he goes, he just wanted to put his hands on it, and
so the one thing I really like about that deer, though, I mean, think of all of the, even on your shirt, like the Real Tree logo or any of those brands that have antlers incorporated into the logo, they're always that big, perfect, almost a heart shape.
Yeah. Yep.
And those antlers are literally that perfect, just heart-shaped, wonderful. That is a spectacular deer.
Yeah, it was a nice deer. It was, and he was big, just ginormous.
Well, the best part about that is I think you had that deer aged. And we get that question a lot. Oh, that's got to be this old. So you thought that deer was how old when you shot it?
I thought he was 4.5 to 5.5 based on number one, his antler growth, and number two, his body size. I had 3 different biologists look at it. I still have the jaw. They aged him at 3.5.
That was it?
Yeah.
3.5? I would have thought 5 for sure just looking at him.
What are they putting in his food?
Well, part of that's Iowa.
Well,
Iowa, warmer season, it's more growing season, all that stuff.
Exactly. You
food
don't have
everywhere.
the winter. You have plenty of food. You don't have the harsh winters.
Yep.
And genetics.
Yes.
You know, and I mean the genetics down there are just stupid. I just hope that they don't. There's a couple places there where they don't allow any hunting at all, and there's just like thousands of deer.
Oh man,
So-
yeah. Oh man, I wish I had that other picture. You sent me that one from that. What is it? That college or whatever you said? Where that?
Oh, the video.
Oh, that giant.
Yeah.
There is a giant just chasing does.
Yep. Yeah.
That thing was huge, and it's in an area where you can't hunt these deer.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Two. That's a non-typical. Well over.
Was
200
that from the
inch.
same place in Iowa that you hunt?
Yeah. Same
okay.
area, but farther north. They call them the Maharishis. They have their own college and everything right there, and they don't allow any hunting on any of this property at all.
I think when I went down with you that time, that your guide buddy took me on a little trip of that spot.
Yeah.
They had all their
that's
own
it.
housing and all that kind
Yep.
of stuff. Yeah.
They have all their own
nuts.
stuff. And,
It's nuts.
Yeah, we saw some giants when I went with them.
Yes.
Yeah, there are some really big deer.
Right.
Really big deer. But yeah, I was totally surprised. To this day, I still don't believe it. But if you look at his
It's on
his
your wall,
jaw.
dude. You should believe it.
yeah,
I've
Well,
seen it. I
you're
look at it all the
talking
time.
The age of it.
Oh,
There's
right.
No
Yeah.
way. There's no way
No.
you believe
Hey.
that deer's only 3.5.
I still don't believe it. But that's what I had 3 different
You
guys
should
take a
get
look at it.
3 different guys all thought the same thing.
Mhm.
Get a fourth opinion.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I
I'm
would.
just kidding.
I would. So
but yeah,
That's fantastic.
Definitely ranks up there as one of the top ones. So
right.
Awesome.
Very
Well,
cool.
Let's kind of wrap her up, huh?
Yeah, I think it's about time. We've been rolling for over an hour and a half now.
jeez.
Yeah,
I
it
told
gets
you, it's so easy
talk
to
here.
talk.
It
It's-
is.
Especially when you talk about stuff you like to do.
Yep.
I think that my favorite part is, I mean, besides a little bit of addressing the audience, I mean, people are literally just watching us have a conversation.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's literally it.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with anything else. So,
Yeah.
no, I think if we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, Matt, you want to give your little spiel and I'll do mine. And
Well, I just want people to know that if they have any questions for you on anything at all, they can always reach you at the store number, 920-750-6140.
Absolutely.
They can comment on our Facebook page. They can send us an email, anything like that. I even though I work with you, I totally recommend you to everybody for all crossbow stuff, archery stuff, hunting stuff, and in general. You're phenomenal, and I appreciate all the time you took with me to help me grow into the real shot and all that kind of stuff too.
You're
So
welcome.
just remember, if you want to get a hold of Mark, he's here. You know, you can ask questions to him. He's always readily available. And if you're not here, we'll make sure that the questions get to you.
Mhm.
And you're very fast on the response and all that kind of stuff, too. But get back to it. Get your crossbows in now. Get your vertical bows in now. Just be patient. The gun stuff's happening. So, thanks, Mark, for making the time today. We really liked having you on. You're always here at the store, so everybody come down and say hi to him. And we do appreciate that as well. You know, if you don't come in and buy something, just say hi.
Oh yeah, people come in and just want to hang out.
Yep.
Like
Like
it's-
you
like it
always
here.
taught me, think of this place like Cheers. Everybody, say hi to everybody.
Absolutely.
So again, yes, but we're on again Friday. Friday, we're just gonna have a
Opinion show.
Opinion show.
We're going to have Munt
Opinion
on,
show.
right?
We have
Justin's
Justin
coming
Munt
on.
and
Talk about some of the stuff going on with the DNR and some of these lakes and size changes, regulation changes. Get some opinions on that.
yep.
I get to
So-
play the typical millennial that has opinions on things that they
That's-
don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Woo! I'm
Are we
ready
gonna-
for
are
it.
we gonna- Are we going to try to
Ready for it.
Zach, are we going to try to open up that Skype line during the show?
It's questionable.
I think we should try it.
we can try it.
What do you think? I think we should try it.
So are we gonna? Are we
It can
gonna
only
try to
go
get-
2 ways. It can either go really good or really
Well,
bad.
no, but if somebody's got Skype and they want to Skype in, we can have them live on the show.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
If they got a question or an opinion, or Justin really wants some live people he can talk to.
Right.
I think he's sick of us.
So then, so Friday, are we gonna have TJ on as well? Or are we-
Probably, yeah. Or we
okay.
can save that till Monday.
Save
maybe
that
or
till Monday
something.
because I know the MLF is going on
Yeah,
right
today's
now.
day 2. Group B is going out today.
Okay. So again, Mark's show is on. Go ahead and plug that.
Wednesday nights from 5 to 6, 95.3 The Score.
Tonight's to Ask a Game Warden.
Yep, tonight is Ask
So
a Game
tune
Warden.
in if you got any
And if
questions.
you're from out of the area, it's on your podcast, right? iTunes. And
Yep, you can go onto iTunes and download the podcast if you want, or you can actually go to thescorewi.com and hit the listen live button. You can listen to it live anywhere.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
Pull it up on your
Awesome.
phone, on your computer, whatever
Sweet.
you want to do. But thank you guys for having me in. It's not like I don't like talking about outdoor stuff.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
you don't seem
I'm
enthused at all.
I'm coming out of my shell.
Right, right.
He was real nervous trying to get on here.
Yeah. He's the most relaxed one. So again, Zach, I'm gonna point it out to you. Go to like, the share, the comment type stuff. Nail
Yeah.
it. Go for
If
it.
you want to, you can like it. No,
Yeah.
head on over to our Instagram page at TRS Outdoors. Please drop us a follow. Check out all the content we have. We showcase a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff on there too. So if you're really interested to see what changes are going on, odds are we probably have it somewhere there, either on a story during the day that it's actually happening or in photos. So again, TRS Outdoors on Instagram. Give us a follow. If you don't already, I'm not sure how you're here. Like our Facebook page. Give us a like on this video. Comment some good questions or anything you want us to look at after the show.
And please share it. Share.
Yes.
Shares
yes.
help us more than anything, I think.
Literally, no, seriously. If you're watching this and you like our show, when we go live and you're watching, hit the share button. It takes you 5 seconds, and it'll definitely help us out in the long run.
And like Jim here, he says this is a great store or a great show, and we really appreciate it. And we try to answer all the questions that come in here. That's why Brian and I have these tablets.
I'm answering them live. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just answering questions.
Right.
I'm multitasking.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
doing.
thought you were buying some fishing stuff.
No.
He's ordering
answering questions.
He's ordering more gun products for you to have
Yeah,
in the store.
perfect. Awesome.
So cool, yep. And we're on again Friday at 10 o'clock unless we get another 14 inches of snow. But we made it here today, so.
Homemaker.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
everybody,
you.
for
Thank
tuning
you.
in, and we'll see you next